thing which I want to convey through today's session is like a game. Like we always hear the quote that life is a game. So we are trying to play that game till our death. So just we are going to understand that how interestingly we can play, and we can understand what are the things behind these games in a day-to-day life. So let us start this session with a game. So let me assume that I'm having $1,000 with me. So this is a game which is normally given by the game theorist to understand the game theory in a simplest way. So I'm taking the same example from them, from the game theorist. So $1,000 I'm having with me, and I'm asking this group of people, 20 people in our session today. So to quote that, you have to tell a number which is greater than or equal to 1. Okay? And you just have to write it of your own without discussing with anybody. And whoever is quoting the highest number is going to get the 1,000 divided by the number which they have quoted. So this is what I'm going to say. Just I'm not asking for a sheet or paper from you currently, but just think of the idea behind this game. So you are going to think of a number. So when you're making the decision of thinking a number, there is something behind that. There is a theory going to come behind that thought process which is going around us when we are making that decision. So here, very importantly, I'm saying that there is no communication. Okay. So I just give 5 seconds just to think that what is the number you would choose. And then, yeah, I'm getting some answers. Okay, sorry. Next one is, I'm going to the next part of the game, same game, but with a small twist in that. It is going to be, the communication is allowed. I'm going to tell that 20 of you can talk among yourself, and you can come up with a number, and you will be getting the amount based on the maximum number which is quoted. Can you guess, can I get a number now that you can communicate if I'm saying, and maybe if you are in a group and if you're going to communicate, what you think that would be the number? Yeah, great. I'm getting the answer. Kala Begum has given the number 1. Yes, that is what we would reach when we are talking in a cooperative game. So that is what is the difference between the first and the second. There is no communication, and the communication is allowed. And most of the time, the decisions which we are making in our life may be without communication. And there are a lot of dilemma in that. We are not sure that what the other person is going to think. So to reach an equilibrium, there are some strategies which the theorists have found out. And there are a lot of strategies possible. There are a lot of outcomes possible. Thinking all those ideas in that, and then the decisions are made when it is going to be a complex scenarios. But otherwise, also we are making some decisions based on these kind of assumptions that what the other person would think. So in the first scenario, say for example, if I'm taking this, there is no communication. There is a possibility that 1 to 1,000, any number can be given. If I give 1,000 as the highest number, then I'll be getting $1. So that is the best possible. If no communication is happening, I want to gain at least 1, then I can quote it as $1,000. So that for sure I'm going to get $1 at least. So these are the kind of thought processes going around when we are making some decisions in our life on a day-to-day basis. And when I say game of equilibrium, that is we are trying to achieve something maximum during our decisions. So that is explained through game theory, and a lot of researches are going on around this, and it is helping in many disciplines in our day-to-day life. So just game theory, we are going to talk in more than mathematical and scientific form. I want to make it interesting, understanding the concepts and relating it to how we have to understand and just enjoy playing that on a day-to-day basis. So it is not going to help us tell that this is the best solution. So nobody can teach that how to arrive at the best solution. Rather than this theory explains as how we can make decisions, what are the different strategies possible, and what are the different solutions possible as such, not telling which is the best. And we cannot tell which is best unilaterally because the other person is involved in our decisions, which is impacting our decisions, which we call it as situations or other person or anything. So with this, we are going to move into our today's Toastmaster session. Normally we have 3 segments, and today we have an additional 2 more activities to be done. One is educational session and the other one is a newsletter release. Other than that, we have 3 sessions of prepared speech, table topics, impromptu speech, and the evaluation. So first I would like to call our general evaluator, Sunantini, who is a consistent creative speaker of our club. So I would call upon Sunantini to take over the dais to give the guidelines. Over to Sunantini.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bhuvaneshwari. I'm expecting more on your theme today. I'm eagerly waiting for it. So, good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I'm Sunandini, and I'll be the general evaluator for today's meeting. And I have my tag team to help with me. First of all, I would like to call Toastmaster Jayashree, the timer, to give the guidelines. Over to Toastmaster Jayashree.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sunandini. Greetings, TMBody, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As timer, I will time the table topic speakers, education session, prepared speeches, and the evaluations. I will also alert each speaker of the time they have left using sound which denote specific times remaining. Table topic speakers should limit their remarks to no more than 2 minutes. At 1 minute, I will ring the bell like this. At 1 minute and 30 seconds, I will ring the bell like this. At 2 minutes, I'll ring the bell like this. Those giving speeches should limit their remarks to their specific speech times. Education session should be 18 to 20 minutes in length. At 18 minutes, I'll ring the bell like this. At 19 minutes, I'll ring the bell like this. At 20 minutes, I'll ring the bell like this. Prepared speech should be 3 to 4 minutes in length. At 3 minutes, I'll ring the bell like this. At 3 minutes and 30 seconds, I'll ring the bell like this. At 4 minutes, I'll ring the bell like this. The individual evaluations should be between 2 to 3 minutes. At 2 minutes, I'll ring the bell like this. At 2 minutes and 30 seconds, I'll ring the bell like this. At 3 minutes, I'll ring the bell like this. Thank you. Over to Toastmaster Sunandini.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jayashree. Now I would like to call upon the R counter, Toastmaster Hazain. Over to Toastmaster Hazain.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sunandini. Good afternoon, fellow Toastmaster and guest. Myself, Toastmaster Hasin Basha, and I will be the R counter for this meeting. My role is to note words and sounds that are used as crunch or past fillers by anyone who speaks during this meeting. I will listen for overused words including and, well, but, so, and you know. I will also listen for filler sounds including and I will also note down when speaker repeats a words or phrase such as I, or this means. At the end of this meeting, I will report the number of times that each speaker used these expressions. Thank you, Toastmasters, and over to General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hazain. Now I'd like to call upon Toastmaster Ashwini from KIT for the grammarian role to give her guidelines. Over to Toastmaster Ashwini.
Yeah, thank you so much, Toastmaster Sunandini. Today I'll be the grammarian. As a grammarian, I'll be noting all the grammatical usage when a speaker uses. I'll also be noting the excellent usage of words as well as the bad usage of words as well as as well as English language. As a grammarian, I would like to introduce the word of the day. The word of the day will be grapple. It can be used in two ways. The first one can be as follows: to try to solve a problem. Example, daily workers has to grapple with more financial issues during this COVID-19 outbreak. The second can be as follows: to hold and fight with another person. An example can be given as the restless grappled with each other. Whenever the speaker uses the word of the day in his or her speech, kindly acknowledge them with the thumbs up sign. I'll give my report at the end of the meeting. Over to the general evaluator, Toastmaster Sunandini.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rashmi. Today I'll be evaluating each and everything that happens in today's meeting with the help of my tag team. I'll submit my report at the end of the session. Over to TMOD.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sunandini. And we go on to the next part of our game theory to understand a little more detail of the game theory. So one of the important concept of game theory is Nash equilibrium. So equilibrium can be achieved. We cannot say that if you do this, if you do, there is no set rule, but we have some theory goes around it. Without considering the other person's decision, we cannot make a maximization, or we cannot achieve some incentives just by changing our decision alone. So always in the complex situations, not only our decision is going to impact our outcome, it can be the other person's decision as well. So that is what the mathematician John Nash has said in the Nash equilibrium. There is no player can do better by just unilaterally, means like only he alone, if we alone change our decision, just assuming that the other person is going to be constant, then our decisions may not give a better outcome than what we are getting currently. So that can be explained through one of the video which I'm going to show, which explains the business. The toasting, the toasters are sold by, are prepared and sold by two different companies. How their decisions unilaterally will not help them to improve their profit. So with this short video, then we'll move on to the next. So just a quick video on this. Just give me a minute. Hope this was very interesting, right? So we can think in these lines when we are making decisions. It's like the bigger companies, when we are seeing the price reductions, even now the oil price, we are talking a lot about that. Just this helps us to understand how these big companies are making decisions and on what basis the businesses are running in the universe, right? So with this, now I move on to the next segment of our Toastmaster session. Givers are never losers. This is one of the topics which I got during table topics. And I always have felt that trainers are givers. And I'm super excited to call this personality to give addresses on and give some educational speech to us. And excited to hear Toastmaster Shyamraj's speech, and he's an engineer turned trainer and who has marked his excellence by training a lot of students in Guinness Book of Records and Indian Book of Records, and won a lot of laurels in Toastmaster, that as an advanced communicator gold and advanced leader bronze. And he's and one more thing which I was super excited seeing his profile is he has won district level in all the 4 categories in the Toastmaster as humorous speech, international speech, evaluation contest, and table topics. That was so exciting to see that in the profile. And he's continuously marking his excellence by conducting a lot of trainings for the students and serving the community with his skills. Now I call upon Toastmaster Shyamraj to give us his speech and help us in improving our skills. Over to Toastmaster Shyamraj.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Bhuvaneshwari. Am I audible and visible, friends?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you so much. So, may I start talking? Yeah, is this fine?
Yes, please. We are waiting.
All right. Thank you so much. Firstly, I should thank Toastmaster Santosh for having given me this beautiful opportunity of interacting with the members of CMI Toastmasters Club. And it's certainly a privilege for me to step into your 69th meeting. And I also understand that today is a very special day with the newsletter release of the club. Sincere gratitude to everybody who has offered me this invitation. And I should also say I'm very thankful to Toastmaster Sunandini because she was the one who coordinated with me for the article that I had to present for your newsletter. So I'm very happy for every member of CMI Toastmasters Club that I talked to. And even when I logged myself into this meeting, I had the president and a few other members who had already logged in. There was a warm reception that I enjoyed. So as long as I've been into this meeting, maybe it has been at least 30 minutes or say 25 minutes of active talking in this portal, I should say there is a lot of professionalism that the Toastmasters world has to learn from CMI Toastmasters Club. The rapport that you people enjoy among yourself and the professional way of shaking hands with the roles that are to be taken among yourself, it has been fantastic, friends. I am taking this lesson of professionalism and maybe a serious time management to my club as well. Thank you so much for giving me those lessons. Now, let me get into the session. Thank you so much for the introduction. As it states, I have been into Toastmasters for quite some time now, and contesting has been a matter of passion to me. As you all know, Toastmasters gives us 4 kinds of contests. One is the humorous speech contest, the other the evaluation contest, then the table topics contest, and the international speech contest. The basic learning in Toastmasters is that when somebody steps into all these 4 genres, when somebody experiments his skills with these 4 genres, he's trying to move towards completion, my dear friends. In fact, your every meeting is shaping you towards all these factors. The point is, the more we realize this, the better communicators we become. I'll start this with a question. How many times have you felt, see, I use English in my everyday conversation. I speak to so many people using the language. I communicate very seriously on a day-to-day basis. But when you ask me to speak for 5 to 7 minutes, there comes the problem. I'm ready to give a lecture for 1 hour, but don't put me on that stage for 5 to 7 minutes. Do we feel that? As a member, I felt that initially. Now, what is the reason behind this fear or say anxiety? What's the problem when we step onto the stage for a 5 to 7 minute speech? I was talking to Santosh and he said, sir, let us not discuss more on the contest this time. Let us only talk on the basics. Let us understand Toastmastering. Let us understand speaking, scripting, drafting, all those pointers. So let's slowly get into these areas, friends. See, when you feel you're talking or maybe using the language every day, you're actually a communicator, my dear friends. But what public speaking demands is an effective communicator. I believe you all would have watched a few World Championship speeches. Have you? Maybe let us pick Toastmaster Dhananjay. We know that he presented a speech on the topic, I see something in you. Had you watched the speech, you would remember every word and every sentence that he presented in that 5 to 7 minutes. See, a communicator would be so good in presenting what he has in his mind, and anybody on the other end would understand him. But effective communication and effective public speaking is in letting your audience remember you for a long time. How long are you remembered for what you speak? How much do people remember of your speech? When we get into this condition, the job gets a little tougher. Presenting 5 to 7 minute speech is nothing but choosing the finest of your 700 words to explain the entire theory that you have in your mind. You're not given more time. Now, how do I start? Now, this question arises in all the speakers usually. Sir, how do I choose my title? That's my biggest trouble. Once I choose a title, I'm able to get into the speech. Are you one such person? Do you have this question in your mind? Then step 1, step 2, and step 4. This title can help you in some way, my dear friends. Whenever people ask me, Shyam, how do I choose the title? I would like to answer them that you don't choose a title. Choosing a title is never a process in public speaking. In fact, you choose incidents, my dear friends. You choose context. The context gives you the purpose of speaking. In fact, you cannot say, listen to people is the title that I've chosen. So what is the incident that I'm going to fix under that? No, this is not the way. Life gives us incidents. Inferences are made out of those incidents. That way, first pick the plot that you would like to speak on. As I had mentioned in my title, step number 1, my dear friends, is not scripting. It is definitely not choosing a title. First, think to yourself on what kind of an incident you're going to place in your speech today. And that largely depends on your talents. Okay, here I've introduced a word called talent. As I have been observing right from the beginning, I understand that this club has got elite members and they definitely know the difference between the word talent and skill. However, just to emphasize on that, let me tell you, my dear friends, they say some are born speakers. Have you heard that? They say some are born speakers. He is born to be a speaker. This is the biggest myth in the world. This is the biggest lie in the world. There is nothing called a born speaker. What is born with you is a talent. What you develop is a skill. So what can your talents be? You might be very patient. You may be very good in time management. You might be staying very focused and committed in whatever you take. Now, all these are talents. All these are talents. Now, using these talents, what do? What do you hone in yourself? That is a skill. And that's why you see in most of the places, people call it a talent search program. Because many are born with talents. I have to go and search who is with what talents. But you call it a skill development program. Nobody is born with that skill. We only develop that skill. That way, nobody can be born as a speaker. Now tell me the answer to this question. Some of us like speakers who speak very fast. Some of us like speakers who speak slow and steady. Some of us like emotional speakers. Some of us like motivational speakers. And there are some people who love humorous speakers. What does that mean? The skill is the same, my dear friends. The skill is the same, but the talents differ. What you get attracted to is largely dependent on your talents. So I say, the picking of the plot is highly dependent on your talent. Now, from what I have been observing, Toastmaster Bhuvaneshwari was explaining us a game theory. She was telling us a lot about the Nash equilibrium. So she is more into analysis. She is more into explaining complicated contexts to us. That's her talent. So when she tries to develop her skill on that line, she will be choosing incidents like that. And maybe if the club has a person who is very jovial, very humorous, his incidents would run into that line. So choosing your incidents can never be borrowed from someone. If you're getting into a title, you're borrowing from someone. You are trying to replicate someone. After choosing the title, you cannot run down into incidents in your life which should focus on that topic. That confines you. So when you relax, when you stay relaxed, just look around, just feel around and see what kind of incident would suit your next speech. And remember the headline that I told you, people should remember you for that speech. People should remember as much as possible of you from that speech. Now let's move into the second point. Once the plot is decided, you can get into your topic. You can give your speech a title. Maybe this year, when I was presenting my international speech contest, I had an incident in my mind. That was an incident that happened between me and my grandfather. I knew that a walking stick played an important role in that discussion, in that incident. So I thought the incident is decided. The next step was giving a name to the speech. I thought since the walking stick played an integral part, the title shall be Walking Stick. Now, step 1 and step 2 are done. In my title, I had not mentioned step 3. What is step 3 according to many people in this world? Scripting the speech. Is it not? Okay, I have my incident. Okay, I have my title. Let me start writing. No, friends. In my explanation, I'm going to skip the step 3. You don't have scripting as step number 3. Why? Sitting with a paper and pen or sitting in your Microsoft Word document should be the last possible step in the preparation of a speech. Have you done this before, my dear friends? Have you gone to the stage, stood in front of people, and suddenly forgot your scripts? Have you felt that? Have you fallen into that trap before? Or have you done this, like you stand in front of a crowd in your audience, you deliver the speech, but you feel that speech went off like that. You thought you spoke only for 2 or 3 minutes, but the timer said you have spoken for 6 minutes and 30 seconds. Have you felt that? At times, have you felt after coming down the stage that you missed a paragraph in your speech or at least a sentence in your speech? Why do you think all these factors occur? You would have drafted that of utmost importance, but when you are on the stage, you forget that. You miss on that. What happens there? A very common belief of people when it comes to speaking is, I will draft my speech and then I will by heart that speech. I'll try reciting that speech. Then I'll get into applying body language to that speech. And then I'll experiment voice modulation and variation to that speech. Finally, it becomes a speech. Don't we do this? Don't we do this? And maybe the last thing that we do is, along with the script, with the body language, with the voice variation, we try presenting and clock our speech. We try to check if we fall between the 5 to 7 minute speech. In fact, what if I give you a suggestion on this process, friends? What if I give you a change in this alignment? Before you draft a sentence, you will need to experiment that sentence with the right body language, with the right voice variation, and the time it takes. Only when you are approved of all these points, you put that pen on the paper and write that sentence. Do you get what I say? The final speech, the International Speech Contest World Championship speeches of the last few years, my dear friends, did not have more than 650 words. Did not have more than 650 words. All those speakers believed that the words do not define the quality of the speech. They believed the body language, the delivery style that you're going to embed with that sentence, with that line in your speech, largely decides the quality of your speech. We know that Dhananjaya, if most of you have watched that speech, if there are people who have not watched, let me try to explain this to you. He goes up to the stage. He doesn't speak a word. He doesn't speak a word. He goes to a trash can. He stands near it. He picks the rose from his pockets and he gives a very little statement. Life has a very peculiar way of picking out your petals and throwing you in the trash can. This is the second or third line of his speech. Now remember, friends, do you think this line was drafted, memorized, practiced, and then he decided on the body language, and then he decided on the property, the trash can, and then he decided on the property, the flower? No, it was all the reverse. It was all the reverse. He first decided how his choreography had to be made on the stage because Dhananjaya wanted that line to be remembered by everyone. A communicator will only concentrate on making people understand. An effective communicator or an expert speaker will concentrate on thrusting that into the brains of the people so that they remember it for a lifetime. I attended the session of Dhananjaya and he told me that this part of his speech was taken from his own TED Talk. He had presented a talk in TEDx and that particular concept lasted for 6 minutes in his TED Talk. Let me explain again, friends. Whatever I told you, those 2-3 lines in his speech were actually 6 minutes long in terms of explanation in his TED Talk. He decided that in his World Championship speech, he wanted those 3 lines. He says he spent the whole night before that contest just to trim those 6 minutes of talk into that 3 lines. Then he decides he can trim it only if he has a flower. He can trim it only if he has a trash can. So he goes out, hunts for a trash can, hunts for a rose, then he scripts that line. Then he fits the entire understanding into that 3 lines. Life has a cruel way of picking out your petals and throwing you into the trash can. He says this kind of preparation saved him a lot of time. So avoid step 3. Do not script. Do not sit with a pen and paper. First, spend a lot of time personally. Spend a lot of time to yourself. You know your talent. You might be a very composed person. You might be a very patient person. So what kind of a delivery would suit you? You have chosen an incident already based on your kind of personality. Now, how should I present it? See, initially I was a very fast speaker, friends. People still have that complaint on me. But earlier I was even faster. And at that time, I would have at least 6-7 incidents in my speech. And I would run very rapidly. In those days, my body language, my voice, everything was chosen based on that. And then I would script it on the paper. So based on your talent, present this step 1, step 2, step 4, and then come to step 3. And here is a common problem that we face as speakers. See, when we get in front of the audience, we feel that it is all mechanical. We feel that we have not given life into our speech. This has got a lot to do with our practice sessions, friends. How do we practice our speeches? How many of you have got a private room in your house where you always prepare and rehearse your speeches? Now I'm going to talk to you about what we naturally and usually do inside that room whenever we practice our speech. Guys, am I audible? Am I boring you? I'm sorry. Can someone tell me if I can continue this way?
Going.
Definitely not.
Yeah, please.
May I? Yeah,
Yes,
thank you, friends.
sure.
So this is This is what we miss over all these days. We are not able to meet each other in person during a session. I'm talking to my screen, and the screen conveys less of how my friends are receiving me. However, let us get back to the point. We were talking about what happens in our practice room. See, what you see here in the background is my practice room. All right. Now, to my left is a wall. To my right is a wall. To my front is a wall. Behind me is a wall. We naturally finish our scripting, stand in front of a wall and practice our speech, don't we? If you are a person who practices in front of a mirror, I've got some suggestions. I'll reserve that for later. But if you're a person practicing in front of a wall, what happens psychologically? How does the brain react usually? Let me tell you. See, when you stand in front of a wall, you know that it's a static image in front of you. It always gives you an illusion of an audience. It tells you that's it. I mean, to you, it is your audience every time you prepare and present your speech. Now imagine you're going to the stage. When you go to the stage, your brain is not ready for dynamism. When it looks at the audience for the first time, when it stands on the stage, the static wall has not prepared that speaker for the dynamic audience. See, your brain wouldn't have handled a newer audience in front of it if you had been practicing against the same wall. So what I would say is, stand in front of this wall for some days, and then turn this side, look at the other wall and speak. Then stand against the next wall, stand against the other wall, so that your brain knows that it is not talking to a non-living substance. It knows that it will speak in front of different ambiences. It will speak in front of different images. So when you go in front of the audience, that's not the first time your body is standing in front of a new thing. If you can understand what I say psychologically, you will get this point, my dear friends. You will understand this very clearly. I mean, this is the same concept that applies with everything that we did from our childhood. Do you remember what we did in our childhood when we were in an examination? See, we went there. We were sitting in the examination hall. If you forget a step in the derivation, shall I tell you what you did? You took your pen, you started knocking on your head, and you look at the floor. Do we do that? Or you look at the wall? You look at the ceiling. Do you know why you do this? And even when we are talking to the audience, we stand straight, we speak. Suddenly when you forget a line, what do? We look at the floor. We look at the wall. We look at the ceiling. Why? Because as a kid, when we studied from the book. We closed the book. When we recited, our eyes looked at a wall. Now just imagine, I had been studying Newton's third law. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. I closed the book. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So my mind knows that when I look at the wall, I can think of the script. I can think of the subject. That's the same thing that happens when you present your speech in front of an audience. Your brain immediately relies on some plane surfaces. It believes that it can see the page of the book in that wall. It can see the page of the book on that plain floor. Now, you cannot fall into such traps. Initially I told you that there is a difference between talent and skill. Here is a bigger difference between subject expertise and skill. Don't we have that, friends? I usually ask this question with many of my friends. We know two words in English. One is beautiful, the other is pretty. Yeah? Beautiful and pretty. In fact, we learned both these words at the same time in our life. Maybe when we were in our first grade or second grade, yeah? We learned it at that age. But touch your heart. Tell me, which of these words you use very commonly? We use this word beautiful very often. The word pretty has been abandoned. Has it not been? See, you look at a scenery, you say that scenery is so beautiful. You look at a little baby, you say that baby looks beautiful. You look at a doll, you say this doll is beautiful. We don't say it's pretty. In fact, pretty is the right word in all these cases. Beauty is something inward. Pretty is the outward elegance. So with the baby, with the doll, with the scenery, it should have been pretty as the choice of word. Mother Teresa is beautiful. Mother Teresa is beautiful because that is inward beauty. Yeah. But why does the brain always go to this word beautiful? Here it goes, friends. There are certain things that we know, and there are certain things that we own. Knowing and owning, two very different words. So it's in the hands of us to understand how we logically practice ourselves, how we present when we go up to the stage. You decide how your brain has to operate. All right. So, I mean, a few factors that I could align all through this presentation. Yes, I'm closing this. I'm closing this with a quick summary, friends. We talked about step 1, step 2, and step 4. I said your speeches don't start with titles. Your speeches start with close to heart incidents. A close to heart incident for you is largely dependent on your talents. Your talent gives you the taste. You choose the incidents based on your taste. And as you do that, I also talked about how you practice. You cannot practice against the same image every time. Look at different sides of the wall and speak so that on the stage you feel lively. Your brain is ready to accept differences that are happening now and then. Yeah, I had a few other factors that I could say. Now, since it was a very general discussion, I wasn't so clear of where to start and how to take and how to close. I believe whatever I have told you till this moment would have added clarity. I couldn't see any of you on the screen. However, I believe whatever I have given is going to be of some use to you. Maybe over, if the time is up, I would like to hand over control back to the TMOD. If I have a few questions on this line, I would be happy to answer. But if I understand that a Q&A has not been planned, I'm okay with that too. Thank you so much. It was so lovely interacting with the elite members of CMI Toastmasters Club. This is my first time visit to the club, and I should say I thoroughly enjoyed it. Best wishes to you, TMOD. If there are Q&A, I would stay. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmasters Shyamraj. It's a wonderful speech, and we are really excited to know that how we can customize our speech and how we would get prepared with our strengths and how we can align that in our speech. So that's very informative for us. Thank you. And anybody have some questions? You just can raise your hand. Okay. Thank you. So I think we can reach out to Toastmaster Shyam if we have any questions. Thank you, guys. So now we come on to the next part of our session. So we have some appreciation from our club. So all our behalf, like we enjoyed and the informative speech. Thank you, Shyamraj. Yeah, coming on to our new the next part of the session, game theory. So I understand that the audio was not heard during that video which I played. So just a brief of that. The thing it was trying to tell that how equilibrium is reached. 1 minute, let me share my screen. So in Nash equilibrium, the explanation given was that we are having two companies which are producing the breads, which are leading market, and they are having 10,000 amount of profit. But when they overproduce it, thinking that the other company will not produce more, then their profit is going to be lower than the normal. So that is where we cannot make decisions unilaterally. That is the main point which they are trying to tell through the Nash equilibrium. And thanks to Toastmaster Kangaraj to share the link, and you can feel free to listen to that with the audio. And now I move on to the next concept explanation with the same related to the Nash equilibrium with another example. And that is, they call it as a prisoner's dilemma. So it's a very interesting concept. You can listen, and even we can relate to a lot of decisions which we are making in our day-to-day life. Just a minute. So prisoner's dilemma. So in that case, we are understanding there is a prisoner A, Tom, let us assume, and there is a prisoner B, Nick. So these two are partners in a crime, and the court could not decide that who has been person who committed the crime. So they are not sure. So they are finally, because nobody has confessed or they couldn't find out through evidence, they have decided that they will be giving 2 years of jail to both of them. And in that case, what they are doing, the police is keeping Tom in one room and Nick in another room where they cannot communicate with each other. And they are asking them to confess. If they can say that if the other person has done the crime, and if they confess, and the person who confess will get 1 year of imprisonment, the other one will get 8 years of imprisonment. And this is the scenario exists now with Tom and Nick. And Tom and Nick are not good friends. They are just, as you understand, they are prisoners. They are the criminals. So there is no trust. There is not going to be any trust between them. Obviously, the best equilibrium, according to anybody, is 2 years. Because keeping quiet, not confessing, not telling anything. But how Tom can be sure that Nick will not confess? If Nick confesses, Tom is going to get 8 years. And if Tom confesses, Nick is going to get 8 years. And there is every possibility that Tom would betray Nick and Nick would betray Tom. So because they are just criminals and there is no trust, there are no brothers or sisters, nothing. So there is a possibility. So here the Nash equilibrium is both confess. So I would, say for example, if I am Tom, I would think that the best outcome possible is I'm not sure that the person is not going to keep quiet. So if I confess, there is two possibilities. One is 5 years and the other one is 1 year. So this is going to be better for me than assuming 2 and I'm keeping quiet and I'm going to end up with 8. So 1 and 5 is better than my 8 years. So I would try to confess. And the other person also would do that. So in that case, the Nash equilibrium in this case is 5 years. This is a non-cooperative. Both of them are cooperating. They are not communicating with each other. Just a minute. I'm getting some message. Okay, no. So here the prisoner's dilemma explains that during non-cooperation, like even though the 2 is the least imprisonment, but still that cannot be the equilibrium considering the fact that both of them may betray each other. So in this case, it gets to that the 5 years is the both confessing is better. That would be the equilibrium which we would be achieving. In the same case can be put for our lockdown. Let us assume prisoner A and prisoner B in that place. Person A and person B, and confess and the other one remain silent, we can say that I move around and I would lock down myself. So in this case, you can see that confess, that is lockdown and lockdown. Both of them lockdown would give the better solution, right? So that is going to be the Nash equilibrium for us. If person A is locking down and person B is locking down, if both lockdowns, then the solution is going to be better rather than in other way. If one of the person is moving around in the family, say for example, within our house, one person in our house is going out, the other person is staying, it's not going to give any better result. So it is better both of them locked down. So this is a kind of concept which is lying in many of our decisions. So this is one of the example of the equilibrium which John Nash has explained, and it is used in many different parts of the disciplines in our day-to-day life. We can use these game theory everywhere, mathematics, computer science, especially I would say the complex parts where all, even in the biology, evolution, actually these game theory and the probability, if you see, started from Darwin's theory. So they have that some game which is behind the selection process of evolution. Like that, in economics, political sciences, wherever the complex decisions are made involving infinite players and infinite options, the game theory is there. So we can say that the outcomes, like even though there are a lot of messy situations around, so that is where the game starts and the game is played by everybody. And most of the time we try to avoid. That is why we have some aversion towards the political scenarios, political sciences, or even we say that organization politics. So it's a game. It's like, because it's we call it as a game just because the other we are playing it without knowing that whether the other person is going to do. So let us enjoy and do it rather than avoiding that, because it's going to be part of it, and we need not wait for the best solution. Rather than we make a decision, make a strategy, and start playing it. With this, I would like to call individual evaluator, and to tell about him. He is a person, impressive speaker from the day one when he started giving speeches in our club. So Toastmaster Venkatesh to give the rules of prepared speech. Over to Toastmaster Venkatesh.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Today we are going to. Sorry, am I audible? Hello.
Yes.
Yes, Venkatesh.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. So, good evening once again, fellow Toastmasters and guests. So today we are going to introduce the prepared speech Toastmaster Lakshana, who is going to give the prepared social speech on the topic behind scenes of our newsletter. So duration for this particular speech is 3 to 4 minutes. Timer, kindly note down the time for her speech. Now I would like to kindly request Toastmaster Lakshana to take over the dais.
Thank you, Toastmaster Venkatesh. Now I would like to call upon the prepared speaker, Toastmaster Lakshana, the storyteller of our club, has an excellent voice modulation, and we love to hear stories from her. Now, floor is yours, Toastmaster Lakshana.
A very good afternoon to one and all present here, my dear Toastmasters and fellow guests. Sometimes things become possible only if we want them bad enough. Yes, a year-old club, we, the CMI Toastmasters Club, have decided to go beyond our comfort zones. Why? Because we are going to release a first ever newsletter on the theme reminiscence. Friends, when our VP Education Santosh gave a heads up on asking me if you could take the role of editor on the on our newsletter, to be frank, I was initially hesitant. Uh, but then our VPs know who can do what, and they also have this nudge of pushing us. So did Santosh, and I was also, with no other choice, accepted it. Having Sunantini and Eunice to support me in this journey, it was with no big clue we had to take this up. And Santosh was very much what you call he was very much indeed guiding us in each and every step. So first, what we did is we had a meeting, and we started to discuss on what all the things that are the prerequisites that we need in order to make this happen. And there came the need for the theme and also the members apart from our club whom we need to request for the article. And also we had to inform our members uh, to start writing their article. So we had a week's time, and then uh, again we met and decided on the theme, and also we decided on the members list. Me and Sunantini, we segregated between us on whom we should follow, who will be following whom. And also in the meantime, Eunice was vital in making the skeleton for the newsletter. And then slowly in a 2 or 3 weeks gap we started getting the articles, and unite when as and when we what you call as and when we gave the articles to Unice, he started drafting it in the design. So with this in place, I must thank our our senior Toastmasters of other clubs who were very much ready of giving the who gave the article with so much of readiness. This made us this gave us so much encouragement, and also we encouraged our beloved club people to submit their articles. Also, uh, I think the main challenge we had is the following up. So, all the Toastmasters had taken a very great effort in sparing their time, extra time, or extending their time to write their articles and on the theme that we have proposed. Also, uh, a week before, our VP again, what he did is he started surprised us with the interview that we had to take with our district director elect, Mr. Toastmaster Praveen Mani. And I would also say that Unice had a great role to be had a great role here, where he gave the life to the to our newsletter, I would say. And last but not least, I have to thank big thanks to Santosh for choosing our team, or choosing us to make this happen. Thank you. Over to Toastmaster Bhuneshwari.
Thank you, Lakshana, for sharing us the behind the scenes for newsletter. And now we get on to the next part of the game theory. One interesting thing which I would like to share with you. This is about the gift exchange game, especially in this concept. They are talking about the employer as one of the player and employee as another player. And employer always have two options, that is giving high salary to the employee or the low salary to the employee. And employee always have two option again, low effort and high effort. So when we are seeing this, there are with high salary, high effort, low effort, these are the different combinations of the probabilities, I would say. And in this, actually, the equilibrium, according to the game theory, is going to be the low salary, low effort. That is considering the non-cooperation, no trust. So, but researchers have proven that it is not always like that. It is very less than 20%. We have seen the low salary and low effort. Otherwise, they have seen the other side of the graph. The reason is the trust. The trust between the employer and the employee is the reason to break that. This is not the equilibrium. The equilibrium is going to be the high salary, high effort. So the other side of the book. So this is one of the thing which was interesting to me to see that a lot of explanations around that we can think of, like why people would go for low salary and low effort. Only when there is no trust. So this is also can be related to our day-to-day corporate environment as such. With this, I would like to give it to Toastmaster Vidya, who I have seen as a diligent participant and a member and the treasurer and SA, whichever role she has played it diligently. So I would like to welcome Toastmaster Vidya to conduct the table topics today. Over to table topic master, Vidya.
Good afternoon, one and all present here. Very warm welcome to CMI Toastmasters Club. I would like to know, I would like to have 4 volunteers for this session. In short of time, I would like to I will be having only four table topics today. Hope you guys are able to see my screen. Hello?
Yes, Vidya. Yes, we can see your screen.
Yeah. Any 4 of you, if you are volunteering, you can say a thumbs up sign so that I can share you the topic. Yeah. So the general guideline for our today's table topic is that I will be showing you a cartoon character. Here you need to refrain talking about the cartoon character, but you can speak about these cartoon characteristics or attribute related to someone or some incident. So over to you. Any volunteers? Else I can pick up anyone. Stage is yours, team. This is the first topic, Popeye the Sailor Man. Yeah, Venkatesh, over to you.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I'm Venkatesh. Thanks for the opportunity. This particular topic, Popeye the Sailor Man, what I can see from us, or I would relate to is that most of the time we would like to have someone, or I would say some real life situation where you can get such people come across in your life. So in such a case that when I was doing my graduation in my college days, I would like to have see one of my friend who is trying his level best to motivate each and every one and to come out of the very tough times during our college days. So this particular guy is the one who shows enormous motivation to each and everyone who is struggling on all fronts. Like if someone is struggling on things to understand some of the theories, or to get in touch with people, or to access some of the resources. So this has been this particular character still remembers me, that particular person who he is. So I would like to encourage people to help each and everyone when someone is in need of. Maybe at this COVID situation time, you can help someone who is really finding tough to access some of the resources. Thanks to the Toastmaster Vidya for the opportunity. Over to Table Topics Master.
Yeah, I'm just sharing my next cartoon characteristic. Hope you guys are able to see the screen. The next speaker on board is Toastmaster Abhinaya. Ashwini, I'm sorry, Ashwini from KAT Toastmasters Club. Yeah. Ashwini, your cartoon character is Mr. Bean. Yeah, stage is yours.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, one of my favorite cartoon is Mr. Bean. So I would like to compare Mr. Bean with my friend called, her name is Cyril. So I didn't know she was so unique like Bean. Most probably she'll be alone, but not alone. She'll never feel that loneliness in her. Whenever we go speak with her, we can see that childishness, uniqueness, and attractiveness towards her. That's not because of her appearance or something. It's because of her character. She was happy for what she is. She never cares about what others think of her. She never feels jealous or something. She is unique in all aspects. I'm really glad to have her as my friend.
Oh, sorry.
So yeah, once we had a conversation, and she was about that was a girls' talk. So everyone was sharing their rumors as girls do. So this girl was very unique. She was sharing only her things, what she feel happy about herself, what she feel happy about her friends. So that makes her feel unique and special about everything. So I would compare Mr. Bean with my friend Cyril. She would be perfect for that character. Yeah, over to you.
Thank you. The next speaker I would like to call is Toastmaster Safi. Here is your cartoon character I'm going to share with you. Yeah, it is loading. Hope you guys are able to see my screen. This is like a Chin-chan. Yeah, stage is yours, Safi. Yeah.
Thank you, Vidya.
Thank you, Safiya.
I didn't much know about the Ching Chang, but then this is something like, which keeps everybody happy, specifically the kids. Numerous times, like I have heard about that people wish to see about the Ching Chang. I think it's more of like a touring between one place to another place and helping each other. I think hopefully like kids will definitely have a lot of takeaways that what needs to be done in order to help others and then keep others happy. Over to you.
Thanks, Safi. Thanks. The next, any guest wants to volunteer as a table topic master? Speakers? Else, I would like to invite Rakesh to take over. Hi, Rakesh, you're able to hear? Yeah. Hello, Rakesh, you're able to hear us? I think his audio is, I think he's not there in the call. Is anyone is wishing to take up? Without this, our topic will not be a complete one. Tom and Jerry, it is quite interesting one. Anyone?
Toastmaster Santosh here.
Okay. Yeah, Santosh. Yeah.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, and my dear guests, and special good evening to our topic master, Toastmaster Vidya. So obviously, after seeing this, particularly table topic speaker will be happy that we know the topic very early before calling the name. That's why I've taken it up. But the reason, like, soon after I saw this particular image, we always remember about our siblings, right? So obviously, with our sister or brother or whoever it may be with us in our home, or to whom we see often. So we used to always have a kind of a fight or argument or all sort of things that we had with other people also. But what the difference is something like with other people, we can't convince or we can't understand or convince with the limit. But with these siblings or with our sister or brother, yes, we need to convince them because the love that we get from them is so pure, right? And by seeing that, the character that I remember in my mind is all my brothers and sisters. That's very true, right? There is a situation like I was just going to somewhere and my brother wants to join me in the car, but I wanted to sit in the front seat, and obviously their fights begins. Right? People are so fond of sitting in front seat, and people might not love to take it up the back seat. So it happens. So this is a lot of incidents that happens in everyone's life. But obviously, it's kind of a Tom and Jerry conversation or Tom and Jerry relationship that would be there in everyone's life. Over to you, topic master, Toastmaster Vidya.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, all the participants. Hope you enjoyed this session. This virtual session, I would hand it over the stage to Toastmaster Bhuvaneshwari. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vidya. It was a wonderful seeing all the cartoon characters and talking about that. And now we would conclude this game of equilibrium with one small another concept which is interesting and we would have faced in our life at least one time. So going for diner's dilemma, like especially when we go out for a food with our friends. For dining, and we are telling that we are going to split the cost among ourselves equally. And how we order, how our decisions to order the food would be working. Our mind would be working even though we are friends, and we are thinking that how much maximum I can gain when I am dining and for what I'm paying. So that maximization and rational thinking rather than more of emotion in that. So normally everybody would have come across at least once. So I have always been a loser thinking that like I'll order less and then ending up paying more. People would have felt that way also. Normally, it is equilibrium would be achieved. Normally, everybody would order costlier items. So thinking that we are going to lose little lesser money and we can maximize our food which we are going to intake. So there is a dilemma and equilibrium among that. And normally we end up paying more when we are thinking in that way. So this is also a concept which in the decision making without knowing how the other person is going to think. If we are thinking that let us spend only less, it's going to be we'll end up paying more for others as well. So this is one of the interesting concept which I saw when going through the game theory. So it is there in everywhere. That's what I was thinking. Okay, would like to conclude with that, and we can see this game theory in day-to-day life, in traffic, and in the stock markets, and in the complex scenarios like war strategies, evolutions, and stock market businesses. Everywhere the game theory is there, and the game is going on, and lot of strategies, lot of solutions, and without knowing which is the best, we keep making decisions and strategies, following the steps and doing it. So let us play the game, and it is fun. We keep playing, and it's nice having this discussion with all of you. And the voting lines are open. We request you to vote for the best table topic, and also for the not for the speakers, table topic speakers. And now I would give to Toastmaster Sunantini to conduct the evaluation session. So Toastmaster Sunantini, over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bhuvaneshwari. Before calling upon my tag team, I would like to call the individual evaluator for the speech, Toastmaster Venkatesh, to give his evaluation. Over to Toastmaster Venkatesh.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sunandini. Today, the prepared speech was given by Ms. Lakshana on the topic behind scenes of our newsletter. The purpose of this project is for the member to practice delivering social speech in front of the club members. So I would like to give the comments, what has been based on her speech. First thing is she has been excelled at narrating the scenes well, and it flowed throughout the speech. It was a detailed one. The entire participants has been brought in, and by sharing their names and giving recognition, giving the right recognition. And the area of improvement, I would say that the voice modulation shall be improved upon, and the real-time experience or the lesson learned in this entire experience, or I would say in the entire task, shall be shared, so that this can be an informative for the others who's going to take up take up such assignments in future. On the other end, to challenge herself, she can have more individual practice sessions, and script shall be sharpened further. So these are my observations. Over to Toastmaster Sunandini. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Venkatesh. Before giving my report, I would like to call upon my tag team to give their reports. First, I would like to call Toastmaster Jayashree, the timer, to give her report.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sunantini. The prepared speech by Lakshana, she has taken 4 minutes 17 seconds. And the education session by Shyamraj had taken 24 minutes and 53 seconds. And for the table topics, Toastmaster Venkatesh has taken 1 minute 27 seconds. Ashwini 1 minute 36 seconds. Toastmaster Shafi has taken 44 seconds and is not qualified. And Toastmaster Santosh has taken 1 minute 33 seconds. Regarding evaluation, Toastmaster Venkatesh has taken 1 minute 10 seconds and he is qualified. Thank you, and over to Toastmaster Sunantini.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jayashree. Now I would like to call upon the R counter, Toastmaster Hussain, to give his report.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sunandini. Here is my report on as a counter. Toastmasters Bhuvneshwari had used sound 6 times and a repeated word and 1 time. Toastmaster Venkatesh used 2 times. Toastmaster Rakshana used 2 times and repeated had to 1 time. And that's my report. Thank you. Over to General Auditor.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hassan. Now I would like to call upon Toastmaster Ashwini to give the grammarian report. Over to Toastmaster Ashwini.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sunandini. So here's my report. First of all, everyone had very good usage of grammar as well as good language in today's meeting. I could find Toastmaster Bhuvaneshwari and Toastmaster Shyamraj for using excellent words. I can list as excellence, laurels, emphasize, jovial, peculiar, elegance, prerequisite. So, Toastmaster Bhuvaneshwari also used this quote in her session, givers are never losers. And also Toastmaster Shyamraj used this quote, some are born speakers, and told that as a myth. So I would like to applaud both of them. Also, I would like to give few suggestions. That is, some made mistakes in singular and plural. In the prepared speech session, I could find that the prepared speaker used effort instead of efforts, and also few corrections in articles. And also I found that one of the speaker used starts and begins at the same time. Both the words convey the same meaning, so I would request the speaker to correct himself. So that's all my report. No one used the word of the day, grapple. So from the next time, kindly use the word of the day. Over to the general evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ashwini, for your detailed report. That was really very helpful. To begin with my report, the meeting started just on time. It was a good thing. And Toastmaster Santosh, he immediately took over the SA role without any hesitation. Thanks to him. And timer, I had to tell the timer today, she found a new way to alert us using some sounds. It was indeed a very good idea. Kudos to her to bring up something new in our online meeting. And just one suggestion from my end for her is that if you could just raise your alert sound, it would be very helpful, because sometimes it just looks like I could feel like it was just some system sound from the system. If it had been a little bit louder, it would be good. But kudos to you for taking a new approach as a timer. And to come back with the TMOD, today she has given an excellent session, and it was very interesting to learn about the equilibrium and everything. One thing I would suggest her is to, if she's going to provide some video, I think it was because of the Skype did not have any option for audios, though we could not hear the audios. I would request the VPE maybe to migrate the meeting to Teams, which has an option of screen sharing with audio. It would be very helpful for all others. And thanks for Toastmaster Kanakraj for sharing the video link. And coming to the educational session, it was very helpful and very informative. And thanks to Toastmaster Shyamraj for taking his time and coming to our club and giving a session which was very helpful and very informative. And that's it from my end. Over to Toastmaster Bhuvneshwari.
Thank you, Sunandini, for the valuable feedbacks, and thank you, evaluation team as well. And with this, I would like to hand it over to Toastmaster Raghuraman, the presiding officer for today.
Thank you, Bhuvneshwari. Thank you, Toastmaster Bhuvneshwari. It was a really wonderful session. As expected, your session went very interesting. and the equilibrium. You were able to connect with everything, and that's something new for me to understand. So actually we have to apply balancing the life comes with the word equilibrium. Okay. And with that, it was actually, I want to thank the guest speaker for the wonderful education session. Very much informative, sir. And this is one of the speech we have to revive for the life. So writing the script, going with your paper and pen is not important. Rather, the content is more important. Body language is important. That's why we are here in this wonderful forum. And thanks for this wonderful session in which I'm going to relish for the years to come. Thanks for this again. And also I want to thank for the next big moment of the day, as well as for the club to add a feather to our cap, the newsletter release. And I want to thank the team who was behind that, the chair, co-chair, and the editor, and as well as the person who was actually driving this. So I want to thank Toastmaster Lakshana and Toastmaster Sunandani for their wonderful work. They have put a lot of time and effort here in bringing this newsletter into in a very good form. And also, like Unite Toastmaster Unite, what can I say? Being the VP for the like the PR, public relation, and all the stuffs, and he is a person running on the digital side. He clubbed together to make all this in a very nice format. And the person behind is Toastmaster Santosh. From the day he was very excited, he said, I want to bring this newsletter. I want to bring this newsletter. And he brought that one. And that's why we are all here to congratulate this team for their wonderful time and effort they have put all this thing. I know they have spent a lot of time. Even they have stretched through the night and reading through all the articles. And apart from that, I want to thank all the members and the guests who have given their articles into our newsletter, which is adding a value. I want to thank Toastmaster Akash, Toastmaster Rakesh Menon, Toastmasters, the district Toastmaster. So everyone who gave their writings or articles to our newsletter, adding a flavor to our newsletter itself. So it's a big moment for us. And with this note, I congratulate all the people, the team who have really supported, who are the backbone in bringing this newsletter. Once again, thank you very much for the time and effort. And I'm handing over to Toastmaster Santosh, the person behind it, to release the newsletter here. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Raghuraman. That was an amazing an amazing speech and commendable thing that you had given as a president to all our club members. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, once again, and special good evening to all the guests here, and a wonderful session by Shyamraj Toastmaster, which is really an amazing and mind-blowing. I don't want to take much time because we are quite nearing. I have a wonderful team here with me as editor Toastmaster Lakshana, co-editor Toastmaster Sunandani, and the designer Toastmaster Unais. I fixed these three people in my mind initially when I thought of doing this particular activity. When I just approached her, Lakshana, as she said in the prepared speech, immediately soon after I just explained her, she said, okay. That's the first confidence that I've got from her, because I know she's part of the women's club and a lot of other activities around her, and she does it very dedicatedly. I know about her potential, and she will be doing it in a creative manner than we think it. And that is the biggest confidence that I have gained initially as a positive note when I approached her. And next comes to the co-editor, Toastmaster Sunandani. When I was thinking her, and I was just trying to call her and explain about the reason behind this and why we are doing and what we need to do this. She said, no, I can't offer, because she was in a new position and she has a lot of work to do it. Even now she is very busy. And I was just thinking, okay, how we can convince her. Then I asked her, just think about it. We have a lot of time, and see how we can confirm yes. And after a week and after a couple of weeks, I was just trying to follow her, and she said, Santosh, I can do it. Why now? You said you can't, but you have a lot of work, but now you are telling yes. No, if I want to take any role, I want to give my fullest support to it. That's one thing that I have gained, and it's like additional confidence then, and she had given a fullest potential or fullest support that she can able to do it, because she stayed even till 10:30 for her work, and yesterday is also she is working late night for this newsletter to come in a different shape. Next comes to the backbone of us, designer, Toastmaster Unais, who is a public relation vice president for it, and he is a multi-talented guy. The reason and the reason how this newsletter is going to shape up well, and the reason behind the design and the template, everything is because of him. Even in the weekend, I used to call him and ask about. He never hesitated. He never even show any face reaction, and he was just accepting the changes, and he's doing it till the last minute. Even today, till 12:30 or 12:45, we are giving the changes. He is doing it up, and he was telling that we have done so much efforts. Only small changes, right? We can do it. So that's the kind of commitment that all these three fellows has, and I'm so happy. Really, from my bottom heart, I'm so happy that I have got a wonderful team. I have shared the same to them as well in a separate group. Without delay, I just wanted to hand over to the editor, Toastmaster Lakshana, to release the newsletter. Over to you, Toastmaster Lakshana.
Thank you, Santosh. Thanks, team, once again for believing in us and for us and making this happen actually. So let me share my screen. So I think everybody can see my screen.
Sure.
Yeah, so this is our final
Give a thumbs up.
Newsletter. So over to Sunandini. Sunandini, please take over a few words.
Thank you, Toastmaster Lakshana. Thank you. So as Santosh said, I hesitated to take up this role. But when I asked about the other team members, when he said it's going to be Lakshana and Unais, and then I said I was confident enough with them. I know they will support me, and I thought I was very confident with them, and then I accepted the role that I'll take it up. It's because I had very much confidence with Lakshana and Unais, and that's why I accepted it. I did something which will impress you guys. And thanks, Lakshana, for working with me, and thank you, Unais, for even accepting the last minute changes. And till literally till today morning, he did some changes what I asked. And thank you, Unais, for that. Over to Toastmaster Unais.
Hi, good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. It is a great moment for me as a person to be a part of a newsletter team. First of all, I am not a designer, and this will be the first time I designed a newsletter in my life. You know, I always interested to take a new challenges and learn new ideas and knowledge. That's why I'm in Toastmaster. You know, every role I take in Toastmasters is a challenge for me and a lesson learned in my life. The day when Toastmaster Santosh talked about newsletter, I was totally blank. You know, I don't know how to design a newsletter and how it has to create a new design. So, but finally, it came into a good shape with all your support, especially Toastmasters Santosh, Sunandini and Lakshana. They were giving me a lot of support to create a design and completing the newsletter in a good manner. And I want to pass a message to all that nothing is impossible in our life. Everything is in our hand. We have to decide whether we can do it or not. And definitely the reminisce is an energy in our life to forward further, to move forward. And definitely today's Toastmasters meeting is one of the reminisce in my life. And over to Toastmaster Santosh.
Thanks a lot, editor, co-editor, and designer. Without you, this wouldn't be possible. It's such elegant way of bringing all the contents into as a newsletter. Thanks a lot. Heart congratulations to all the members and all the people who have joined here. Over to you, Toastmaster Raghu.
Okay. Thank you team once again for all the hard work, and as said by Eunice, this is one of the meeting to be cherished for a longer time because all the moments came together and it's a wonderful meeting to end. I really don't wish to end, but still it's due to the time constraints we have to close the meeting. I'm looking forward to one another meeting in the coming days. Thank you all. Thanks for the guest for their special appearance here. Thanks a lot. It's really a wonderful meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining. Bye.